can ask it again.
She's funny.
Where would you put your baton?
Baton is less lethal.
Is the baton more lethal than your flashlight? Not that you know the full definitions of everything that I'm gonna ask you about, but more so you know what they mean and you know what you need to do and what you shouldn't do. What the fuck?
That is terrifying, I must say.
Okay, so I want you to explain to me where are the levels of force.
Level 1 is presence, used to deter crime. Level 2 is verbalization, which is giving commands and guides. 3 is empty hand or open hand, some people call it, which is tackling. And then you have less lethal, which is taser, baton. And a question, is your torch counted in that or not?
Should be asking you that question.
Well, I assumed it would be, but I've never got clarification. And then level 5, which is lethal, which is firearms.
Where would you put your baton?
Baton is less lethal.
Is the baton more lethal than your flashlight?
I would say they're about the same level of lethalness as they weigh the same.
What is level 3?
Level 3 is empty hand tackling. Some people call it open hand, don't they? But
is that your full explanation of level 3?
yeah, empty hand tackling.
But you mentioned open hand.
I just mentioned I've heard some people call it open hand.
You know what that is?
I don't actually know. They call level 3 that, so I'm assuming it's the same as empty hand, which is tackling. But that's an assumption, right?
Let's see what it says in the SOPs actually. Since the SOPs only say that, I'm not requiring you to know all of this then. But to my standard, empty hand control focuses on 2 techniques. Open-handed and close-handed techniques. Open hand requires you to get more control, grasp the area. So it allows you to push, to grab, because you have full flexibility of the hand. Close-handed engagements are more for force and impact, because you're using the force of your knuckles to apply pressure, meaning, punches. Those are the 2 techniques, and that's why that open-handed mention exists, because there's 2 techniques to it. But on a more general sense, it's empty hand control. So you have nothing in hands, and you're only utilizing your hands and your body control the situation.
That makes a lot of sense, Harper, because I guess close hand is used quite a lot in the water, right?
Or even in a fight. You can respond with your fists too. Doesn't necessarily mean more often than not you're gonna pull out, your baton and stuff. But yeah, in the water is the more concrete example where you're just gonna beat you down if you don't go on the surface and you don't go on land. And then what ends up happening, you have to punch them in the water because you don't really have the room to pull out batons and stuff.
Yeah, sticks to the leather sleeve.
That's probably the only, I'm probably the only person that's ever gonna give you a definition like that of level 3.
You absolutely are, totally, without a doubt.
But that's what it actually is. But
can I just cover that myself, just to make sure I've understood what you've said to me? So empty hand.
I don't need you to fully understand it. It's more of a curiosity, I guess.
Okay.
In any question that I make, like some people fail to grasp, this is not a real job. Okay. Someone once said it's not a real job, Claire.
What?
One day you'll get it. But it's a lot of things that I need you to understand. Is the general gist of it. Make sure you got at least the right awareness in your brain. Not that you know the full definitions of everything that I'm gonna ask you about, but more so you know what they mean and you know what you need to do and what you shouldn't do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Guiding principles to make decisions.
Like for the same thing for our SNPC earlier. I don't need you to give me an elongated response and what you should do and what you shouldn't do, what you can do, what you can't, whatever, whatnot. What I want you to realize is the core crucial parts of it. And if you tell me those are the core crucial part, for me it's good enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because the core crucial parts are what makes the difference between knowing and not knowing.
Yeah, showing true understanding rather than regurgitating.
Yeah. So with that in mind, what's Tennessee versus Gardner?
That is the common case law that allows us to open fire on an individual who may be fleeing from a scene if we believe they are currently a threat of injury or death to others in the area.
How can they be a threat?
By being armed and dangerous.
Okay. What if you don't believe to be a threat and they're running from you? What do you do?
So much context that would go into that, right? So for me, if other officers are calling them out, they've got guns, they've been seen or see them shooting, either or, I would approach it case by case. And if the individual was, in my mind, deemed to be further enough away from the original scene.
Hold on, I'll put it in simpler terms.
Okay, thank you.
You're chasing someone, you know that they don't have a gun.
Have they shot? Are they from any kind of...
They don't have anything. They're just running from you.
I would try and ask them to stop and detain them for questioning.
They punch someone in the face and they're running from you.
I'd verbalize first and then escalate depending on how they respond. So if let's say they attacked me, I would take my baton out and use the necessary force to get them to comply.
Would you mean that you would use your gun?
No, I would not. Unless they pulled a knife on me, then
What's Terry v. Ohio?
Terry VI, that allows me to stop a suspect on the street and frisk them without PC, I believe. I have a reasonable suspicion that they are currently dangerous.
Pennsylvania v. Mims.
That is the case law that allows me to be able to lawfully order a driver out of the vehicle if detained without infringing on their rights, and I believe my safety is enough of a reason.
So you're pulling them over on Popular Street and you are almost in the middle of the road. Would that be enough of a reason to pull them out of the car and park on the sidewalk instead?
I think I would ask them to move the vehicle to a safer location rather than get them out of the car, because it's not necessarily their fault. And I think that might escalate it, so I would take the path of least resistance to start with, I think.
But you could pull them out.
I think I could, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, and that's a situation I would recommend you to pull them. Like, if they're pulled over, they pulled over, and you can just continue from there. You just need to properly explain to them what's going on. What's Maryland v. Wilson?
Is this the one that allows me to ask the passenger to leave the vehicle?
Correct. It's the same thing. It's the sister case law to it, basically. I like to remember it by remembering, Mary and Wilson. You have Wilson that's driving, and Mary, you want to pull Mary out of the car because she's being very fidgety. It's kind of like how I like to remember it, but it's essentially the sister case law to it. What's Wyoming v. Houghton?
Wyoming for Houghton. This for me, this has been one that I've had multiple descriptions of from different people, but I'm going to tell you what I believe my understanding of it is. I believe it is the case law that allows me to search anything within the vehicle that may reasonably conceal the thing I'm looking for. So, example, if I was looking for a baseball bat, I could check an individual within the vehicle, but I couldn't check a purse. I could check a duffel bag, but I couldn't check a handbag.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. Your understanding is good.
Thank you.
Do you know the Carroll v. United States?
I do, actually. That's to do with, I use the term vehicle on wheels. Long as I have probable cause, I can search it without a warrant needed because it's mobile, which means it's higher risk than, say, an apartment or her house.
There's actually a legal response to that, why that is. Due to the vehicle having the nature of being able to transition between jurisdiction boundaries.
Ooh, okay.
The vehicle will render any warrant useless as soon as it transfers a border. Will require a new warrant.
Holy
theoretically. Hence, that exception, since a car has wheels and can move borders, there's no need for a warrant. Hence why it's named the automobile exception. If you had an RV with no wheels, would that be enough to warrant?
I don't believe so, because it can't be moved easily.
So it's out of the exception, right?
I believe so, yeah.
So immovable vehicles don't abide by that.
So what about like a caravan that can be towed? That would be in it, right? It's easily moved?
Anything that you're able to move.
Anything that can articulate can be moved easily.
If the object that you're trying to raid is very movable very easily, I think it would be within the automobile exception, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Last one is leave the Suarez standard.
Suarez versus LSPD, right?
Yes.
I believe if I have reasonable concern for safety and protection of the individual that can only be satisfied by a police station, I can move them to the police station. And if they're not under arrest, they can leave at any time they want. Is that correct? I think that's correct.
Yeah, and just as a little thing at the end, it's not that they can leave at any time if they're not under arrest. They can leave as long as they're not in detainment anymore. Okay. You can't just stop detainment, whatever. If you're detained and you have that reason, then detained as long as your reason is satisfied, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
And I don't want you to complicate these, okay?
Yep.
Can ask it again.
She's funny.
These are don't be afraid to ask questions about things, even though you're a PPO doesn't mean you know everything.
I ask about everything normally.
Even as a full officer, people don't know everything.
Yep.
There's no dumb questions. Don't be afraid to even ask for more training if you want to.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Harper.
You don't need to thank me for anything.
No, but thank you.
Your hard work made you able to get to this stage. Now, you're on a different stage.
It all starts
There's
again.
other requirements.
Thank you so much for helping me.
I will say, if you end up getting me in your final eval towards full officer, there's no freebies.
I wouldn't expect that from anyone. I expect you to kick my
I
ass
hope
unless
you're
I'm
not.
ready.
For me, I'm gonna kick you in the ass until you feel it hurting.
No, absolutely. I want to be, as I was saying to Maxwell, I want to be an officer that doesn't cause people headache. So I help solve problems, right? So to do that, I need to actually be efficient at my job. So I wouldn't expect anything other than that. It does help me be better at my job because I'm learning.
There you go. They're kind of in the middle of the situation, but whatever.
Oh God, I could faint, honestly. Oh. Fuck. So good. Oh. Oh, all those hours. And more to go. Woo! Oh, God, I could faint, honestly. Oh, fuck. So good. Oh, all those hours. More to go. Woo! Thank you, Harper. Appreciate you.
No problem.
Woo! We made it, chat. We're a PP fucking O. Fuck yes.